Join them. Bring them to the center of your chest. Gently close your eyes. You can repeat after me. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha.
Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha.
Tatsaviturvarenyam.
Tatsaviturvarenyam.
Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi.
Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi.
Iyo Yo Nah Prachodayat.
Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat.
Rub your palms. Feel the warmth created between your palms. Gently place them over your eyes. Open your eyes in the darkness. Move your fingers a bit so that light enters. Feel the light and gently move your palms over your face, your thighs. So, mantra chanting is also a very important part of yoga, and especially in pregnancy, it's very good. It has a lot of benefits. It calms your body. It helps you to stay focused, and especially the stress and anxiety which the pregnant women experience because of the newness and the changes that take place in their bodies. Mantra chanting really helps them to calm down. So this is something that we should practice. And Gayatri mantra is one of the powerful mantra. It's also called Savitra mantra, and it is to we are praying to Goddess Savitri, who has given birth to all the three worlds, like the earth, the sky, and all in between, like of everything. And we are asking her to dispel the darkness within us and illuminate us with true knowledge. So it's when you do it mindfully, you actually imbibe that within you, those feelings. So we started with this mantra now, and I will move on to a PPT presentation so that I can first explain the steps that we are going to follow, and after we finish this, we will do the practices of asanas and pranayama. So I'll just start. Okay. Just a second. The first thing that we would like to, before we begin, is should we do yoga in pregnancy? This is a big thing, like, especially in our country, the thought is you should not do anything in pregnancy. You should be sitting and you should be resting and you should not be doing anything much because you don't know what's going to happen to you. So, first of all, pregnancy is not a disease, okay, that you have to do something. It is what your body is going through naturally, and if you take proper care and you go through the whole process, it's a very enjoyable process. The most beautiful experience for a woman and also for the couple, because it's a very important part of their journey where they will be having their baby. So as yoga practitioners, we are not doctors. The doctors are there to take care of them. The gynec, the obstetricians are all there. We are going to help them in this journey through what we have learned in yoga and how we can help and aid them to make it a joyful journey. So anytime they have any issues, any things, they can come to us and be more relaxed, which is more important. Medical part is important, but this is an even more important part in pregnancy. So these are few myths which are there of pregnancy. Do not attempt prenatal yoga if you have never done it before. So this is a myth. It is not so. If you have done before, it's good. You know all the practices. But even if you have not done before, if you go to the proper yoga practitioner, they are equipped how to take you through each stages of pregnancy, and based on that only they will take you. Okay. Doing yoga robs your baby of nutrients. Now, this is sort of yoga, and some people think of other exercises also. It is not so. This is related to another myth which says that you should eat for two. You do not have to eat for two also. The baby is growing, that is fine. You have to eat a balanced diet. The baby will take what it needs to take from you. But if your diet is balanced and you hydrate well and take all your supplements, vitamins which have to be taken, there is nothing that is going to happen that the baby is going to take your extra calories and you're going to get burnt out or something. Nothing like that is going to happen. Okay. Then avoid abdominal exercises while pregnant. Now, again, this is thing like, of course, heavy core exercises or heavy things, definitely not. But in yoga, we need this core strengthening. Core strengthening is an important part. If your core is strong, it will ease, it will help even with your back issues and with many other, like the whole process of labor. If you have a good core, so mostly lateral bending exercises and lateral exercises are done so that there is no direct pressure on the abdomen, but you can get enough, lots of more oxygen uptake is there when you do the lateral poses. So this is also a myth. And then the other thing is that you must be super flexible, only then you can do yoga. So that is also a myth, not only for pregnancy, it is a myth for any regular yoga also. You don't have to do that. You will get the benefit of yoga. And the main thing is yoga, which everyone thinks is only asanas, it is not asanas. Yoga is a whole lifestyle. It consists of many things. It consists of pranayam, asanas, mantra chanting, yoga nidra, and all these have got their own use, our own, in their own way they help in the whole process of pregnancy. So you must be super flexible is not needed. If you go to the extent which your body allows you, you listen to your body and go, you will get the proper benefit of that. Then the last myth which I have noted here is prenatal yoga in your third trimester will make you go to labors sooner. There is nothing like this. No studies support this. In fact, studies have supported the other way around, that if you do yoga throughout your pregnancy, you will have a full-term, near-term pregnancy with the birth weight of the baby being in the normal range. So you will not have, in fact, a preterm. So this is also a myth. So these are the myths about yoga and pregnancy. There are many other myths in pregnancy which are the common myths, but I just took the ones which are related to yoga. Next one is, okay, so why should we do yoga? Okay, that question we should know, that why are you doing this? Why don't you just go for a walk? You just do something, that is more better also. You are not going to harm in any way. So the benefits here are listed, and these are based on research studies. I've just taken the inference from all the research and made it easy for us, but these are real studies which have been done. Okay, so here they have seen that significant reduction in pregnancy related anxiety, anger, and postpartum depression is seen in women who practice yoga for more than 2 to 3 months in the end of the pregnancy. So here, the main thing is that through yogic practices, we our endocrine system is balanced, which is the master system in our body. So when this system is balanced, it calms down our whole body. Our breathing is more reduced. So our breathing is slow, gentle, more mindful breathing, which helps the heart rate also be lower, which is a good thing. So it helps in reducing the anxiety, and all the stress hormones which are released, those are also found less in the circulating system in the women. Okay. Then there is a shorter duration of labor and lesser labor pain. So especially this is seen in the first part of labor. In the primaries, they have very long extended labor, 16 to 18 hours. But they've seen that in the first part, generally, this is shorter because of the asanas and the practices they have done. More of their pelvic muscles are strong, the hip opening is better. So it would generally aid in a shorter duration of labor, and the pain quotient is also less here. Next is fewer hypertensive disorders. This is seen in pregnancy specifically. Sometimes women get higher BP So it is pregnancy related. Okay, gestational, you could say, like gestational diabetes, gestational BP also. And this could be very dangerous because it could lead to a condition called preeclampsia, where there is swelling, swollen knees, ankles, swollen body seems swollen. Then there is more of protein in your kidneys. So these could damage those organs. They could damage the baby also. So this condition is seen less in women who have practiced yoga. The next thing is there's significant increase in fetal birth rate, which is what the baby is nearly full term. So the birth weight is fine. Then there is reduction in preterm babies. This is what I spoke about before. Then the APGAR score of the newborn is good. APGAR is a score which is done on a baby when the baby is just born in the first minute, and then it is repeated in the 5th minute. It is based on appearance and different aspects of the baby, the breathing, the heart rate, and other things, so that score is seen good in newborns of mothers who have been doing yoga. Then there is, of course, the benefit of reduced back pain. This is a major complaint during pregnancy because of the growing baby, the pressure on the spine, the back pain and the leg pain, which is seen. This is reduced through regular practice. And a very important part is better sleep quality. Very disturbed in pregnancy, especially towards the lateral part with going frequent urination and other things here, but it is seen that they have a better quality, a longer duration with lesser night waking up. So these are all research-based studies. So we know we are on the right track when we are doing yoga. Okay. So now next is, how does preconception yoga help? So what is preconception is like before you are pregnant, So for many reasons, a couple may come to a yoga practitioner. One, maybe they may not be able to conceive the woman, or they may, in today's world, people are more aware. They want for everything best for their baby, which is really good. You should want everything because you're responsible for the baby and you're bringing it into this world. So you have to give it your 100%. So when you are doing it like 6 to 8 months before you conceive, already you're doing the practices. It is like you're preparing the baby's home, which is your womb. You're giving it all the best it can get, So that is how they say that because it helps the mother have a calm mind, and it also helps her prepare for childbirth. She knows what is going to happen. Her anxiety is reduced. When is anxiety increased? When you don't know what is going to happen, when you can't predict. But she knows when this is going to happen because she's been coming for the classes much before she's planning to conceive. Then it also stimulates the ovaries and enhances successful implantation. This is all because of the benefits. There's very good circulation. The organs are stimulated when we do the different asanas, pranayam and all, so it helps in this. Then it also, we know it purifies the energy channels, it flushes out the toxins, so we are detoxed in the best stage. Then it makes the groins and hips flexible and strengthens back muscles. Many of our asanas, which will be few of them which we'll be doing today also, we will see how it is going to help us. Then it improves blood flow and supply to the reproductive organs. So in preconception yoga, it's always better if the couple does it together. It's not always that because the woman is going to conceive, only she has to do it. When they do it together, it is also a bonding exercise for them. Even the father is able to be a part of this whole journey. So he will be in that way attached. And when they do it together, it will make them closer, their relationship stronger. And it will also help the father because it improves the blood flow in this and supports the reproductive organs, they've said. Then last, we know that it relieves stress and anxiety mainly because it calms down our endocrine system. It helps, it balances it. Our nervous system is down. Our breathing is all balanced. So in all this way, it helps to calm down the person. Mood swings, insomnia, depression, all this it helps in, and it improves the awareness of your body to be aware of what, where, when we are doing it mindfully, when we are paying attention to each and every joint of our body, each and every organ of our body, and we're breathing, the benefits are multifold. So in this way, it helps. Now, what do you do when a couple comes to you for preconception? So like I said, there could be cases like they come to you because they're not able to. conceive, so you counsel the couple. Here also there are quite a few myths which are present. Like this, couples come, oh, we've been trying for a month and we've not been able to conceive. So you have to tell them it's not like that. Studies have shown that even in 3 months, only 62% of the couples conceive, and in 1 year, it's 92%. So it's nothing related, nothing is wrong with you. You have to assure them and you have to debunk all these myths. Then they have to understand the ovulation cycle. So we'll be very much surprised that we don't know our ovulation cycle. When do we ovulate? When is the right time? When is the egg released? Because once the egg is released, within 48 hours, it should be impregnated by the sperm. Otherwise, then there's no chance of the pregnancy happening. For that, you have to know your ovulation cycle. So for most women, if it's 28 days, it will be around the 14th day. So you can advise the couple like 2-3 days before, like from the 11th or 12th day, 2 to 3 days after you can do. So based on an ovulation cycle, you advise the woman which is the best suited time, So these things they wouldn't be knowing. Many people don't know. So these are things which you can educate them on. Then any lifestyle changes that have to be made. So if somebody is into smoking, drinking, okay. So these things, if you are coming for preconception yoga, you can start cleansing off and getting off all these addictions before, because these are a strict no-no during pregnancy. Many studies have proved the ill effects of smoking and alcohol on the baby's low birth weight, having some difficulties, learning difficulties, and many other difficulties that the children have because of these things. So those things you can advise the couple to start off now only, and maybe you can tell the couple, them as a couple, not only the woman, so she feels that she's not alone into this, and get them to do it as it is. Plus the food habits. So you can get them slowly onto sattvic food, explain to them how that is going to help their baby, how it's going to nourish their baby. Also, the other thing is about sleep. These are all things which affect even your chances of conception, plus your whole, how your baby is going to be. So you have to do all this during that session before that. Then I told you about the myths which are related to conception. There are lots of them. So you can debunk all those myths. Plus you can give them tips for conception, which are like, this is your best period. So during this period, if you have sex, then it is you have a better chance of having. Also, knowing when you are pregnant. Many people don't have the proper cycle. They don't know. Generally, the thing is, when you miss your period, you come to know, you are pregnant. But many people with irregular cycles, I myself had, so you don't know that even you're pregnant. But there are certain signs the body may show. There may be tenderness in your breast. You may be feeling more thirsty, more hungry, or you may be feeling slightly nauseous. So you have to tell them to keep a lookout for these things. And then you have to tell them about the yoga practices which would aid their pregnancy. Okay. So these practices are regular practices. I have just listed them down here. There's the Sukshma Vyayam, microcirculation exercises, Shuddhi Kriyas, Neti, then Dhauti, Kapalbhati, all these in preconception stage. You can do all these things so that already you have detoxed and removed and prepared your body ready for this beautiful journey. The next is, of course, our asanas, pranayam, mantra chanting, which we do, which I told you about. This was one mantra, but we can have them do the mantra chanting daily, which would really help them. Different mantras, understanding the meaning and doing it mindfully. Then there are mudras like your Ashwini mudra, which will help to make your muscles strong around your anus region, and which will help later on. The Vajoli mudra, and these mudras you can teach them. Plus there is Trata, which will help to, it has a big benefit in helping to calm the pregnant lady's mind, the anxiety and which is very high during pregnancy. With methods such as Trata, you can really help them calm down and focus. Then of course there's Yog Nidra, then diet I spoke about, the Sattvic diet, and you can teach them some meditation practices. So I have just listed the asanas. You can just go through them, which are generally done because this is preconception. All the asanas, most of them can be done It's only when you are pregnant, then there are restrictions and modifications which are done to many of the asanas. So I have just listed some of the asanas. It's a good thing to teach them before, so that when they go into and they're pregnant, they ease into these asanas with modifications. So these are the prone ones. These are generally later on in pregnancy, you will not be able to do this. So it's a good idea to do it before and strengthen, because these have a lot of benefits, especially Dhanurasana, Bhujangasana and all, to strengthen your back. These are the sitting main asanas which would help. Some of this can be still done with modifications. All have to be done under a trained yoga instructor only. And these are the standing asanas. These also, most of them can be done till the end with modifications. This will be taken tomorrow. All these modifications, I hope by next 2-3 sessions, we will have those. These are the pranayam. Excellent. The breathing, which helps us to really calm down, to channel our prana well and balance our body. So these are generally the prana which will teach them, because these are the ones which they will be doing later also. They will be doing this through. These are all gentle ones. Okay, so that is the. So this was the basic idea of what, why, because once you tell why you're doing what you're doing, once a person is convinced, then they will do it mindfully. If you just do these 3-4 asanas and this finish and everything is okay, is not. Why are you doing this? Should always be told to the person. Okay, so we will start now. We will do a few asanas first. Then we'll do a bit of pranayam. And in the end,
there's a small request. All the participants, please put your videos on, so that if you're going wrong anywhere, then the instructors would be able to correct you. Yeah. So a kind request to put the videos on.
There is Priyanka, I think. Only her videos of. Shall we start? Also, should we zoom out and come in, because I don't know the time. Is it there for the meeting? We can do the Sukshma Vyayam, because I don't know the Zoom will go off or what.
I think his mic is on mute.
You're on mute, sir.
We will have a break after the Sukshma Vyayam. Is it fine?
Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone on your mats. So we'll do Sukshma Vyayam, which is a very important part, which we will be doing through the end, even in the pregnancy. This is going to be done, and this is extremely important, because it will help with the strengthening of our ligaments and our joints. These are microcirculation exercises to be done extremely slowly, very mindfully, focusing on the breathing. So we will start with the ankle. You can keep your hands on your hips. Lift your right leg up. Point your toe down, and slowly inhale and take it up. Exhale and point it down. Inhale, point it towards you. Exhale, point it down. Once more. Inhale, point it towards you. Exhale, point it down. With the other leg, lift your left leg up. Point your toe down. Inhale, take it towards you. Focus your attention on the ankle joint. Exhale, point it down. Inhale, take it towards you. Exhale, point it down. Inhale, take it towards you. Exhale, point it down. Feet together. The next one we will be doing another one more for the ankle, which is ankle rotation. Okay, same way. You can take your ankle in front, your foot in front, point the toe down. As you inhale, Make a rotation, go down, and exhale, you come up. Inhale, you go down. Exhale, come up. Very slowly, gently do. If you have a problem balancing, you can take support of the wall. That is fine. Inhale, go down. Exhale, come up. Let's do it with the other leg. Left leg out. Pointer to down. Inhale, take it down. Exhale, take it up. Focus on your ankle joint. Take it down. Exhale, take it up. Inhale, take it down. Exhale, take it up. Now another one exercise which we can do is we will walk on our toes till the end of the mat. Okay? Very slowly. You can lift yourself up on your toe. Lift yourself on your toe. And you will walk on your mat till the end of your mat. Keep your spine straight. Look in front. Take a few steps forward. Go to the end of your mat. And then come back. On your toes. When we do it one more time, lift yourself up on your toes. Walk in front. And walk behind. Next is, you will go on your, yes. Next one, you will go on your heel. You will walk on your heel walk. So balance yourself on your heel. Look in front. Slowly walk. Keep breathing normally. Don't hold your breath. Walk in front. And slowly walk behind. Once more, walk in front. And slowly walk behind. Next one, you have to lateral walk it is. You have to put the pressure on the outside of your feet. So can you see my feet here? This way. Like the outside part of your feet, the out of my feet is pressing into the mat. And the inner part of my feet are up. Like, this way. See, this way. Can you see my feet? This way. Yeah. So this is the way we are going to walk. Okay? So we do it once. Balance yourself well. And take slow steps. Walk in front. Go to the end of your mat. And walk behind. Next we do in the opposite way. You have put your outer part of your foot was down. Now the inner part will be down. So that is a little awkward. Okay, putting your inner part down. It's like this. Your knees will tend to come inside. So you have to walk like this. Okay, inner part of your foot. Okay, so your knees will a bit wobble like this. See, one this way. This way you have to walk. Okay, and then go back, go back, go back, go back, back. Walk across your mat one more time. This last one we do. Inner part of your foot is on the mat. It's a little wobbly walk. So go ahead and then come back. Okay. After that,